What's up, everybody? Hey, today we're talking about the Treaty of Versailles, and if you need to remember one thing about the Treaty of Versailles, it's that a treaty that no one signs is about as useful as a poopy-flavored lollipop. Welcome back to what they teach you in high school. Hey, today we're talking about the Treaty of Versailles, and there's really three key details that you need to remember if you want to remember the Treaty of Versailles. The first consequence is going to be a military consequence. The second consequence is going to be a financial consequence. And the third consequence is going to be a land consequence. As far as the military consequence goes, ultimately, we've got this here meter from most enraged to least enraged. And our leaders that show up from the Allied powers, France, Great Britain, and the United States, can pretty easily be placed here on this enraged meter. So France was the most upset because obviously the war had happened literally in their yard. Great Britain was medium upset because they had lost a lot of military technology, but their lands hadn't been impacted nearly like France. And the United States was pretty much all butterflies and peace because they hadn't entered the war until the very end. So Woodrow Wilson, who we talked about last week, shows up with a world peace plan called his 14-point plan. And France shows up pretty much ready to disassemble the entire German Empire. So the military consequence essentially said, Germany cannot create a military that would cause any damage to Europe in the near future. Right. The financial consequence was that Germany ended up having to pay massive amounts of what are called reparations for the war damages. The final consequence is our land consequence. Now you got to remember, at this time, all these nation states are more like empires, vast empires that are trying to acquire new territory all of the time. That's part of the reason this war broke out in the first place. And so, as a consequence of losing the war, Germany ends up having to give all of their exterior territory in Africa, in the Middle East, to Great Britain and to France. And beyond that, like I mentioned, a treaty is only as useful as the signatures on it. Like I said at the beginning, the United States decides not to accept this treaty due to part of the World Peace Organization that's created called the League of Nations. Additionally, you can imagine that the German people are not the least bit happy about the consequence of this. And so we start to see an intense form of nationalism or fascism rise up in Germany in the 1930s, bringing about the Nazi Party early on after World War I. Hey, sorry, I didn't like how I ended this video, so I decided to give it another shake. Listen, folks, to use a sports metaphor, at the end of a basketball game, there's a big horn that goes off. Typically, everyone lines up and shakes hands and says good game, or maybe they just storm off the court. But everyone basically agrees the game's over and there's a winner and a loser. That is not the case with war, especially when we look at the Treaty of Versailles and see that most of the people that it impacted didn't actually accept it or the things that were, holding it to account. And so that's what prompts all of this hyper-nationalism, which we defined as fascism earlier, and we see it spring up all over Europe. It's what prompts World War II in many ways, but it also informs us on how we need to interact with other countries when major conflicts break out. So anyway, thanks as always for checking out what they teach you in high school. We'll be back with another video soon. Like and subscribe down below. Hit the little bell button so you know I'm coming next time. Hey, thanks so much, guys. Take it easy. And thanks for watching What They Teach You in High School.